Pay attention to what he conveniently left out.
One of David's top 3 verses of the Quran that he says every Christian must know puts him in a dilemma. That is Quran 9:29. It says, and I quote, "Fight against those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day, and who do not consider unlawful what Allah and His Messenger have made unlawful, and who do not adopt the religion of truth, i.e. Islam, from those who were given the scripture. Fight until they give the jizya willingly while they are humbled." According to this verse, Islamic law requires that Jews and Christians pay the jizya based on rejecting Islam and not accepting what Allah and His Messenger deem prohibited. This contradicts David's claim about the Torah and the Gospel being ongoing legal authorities. Why? Jizya is part of Islamic law. It is not a legal requirement in the Torah or the Gospels. Therefore, the Quran is obliging Jews and Christians to follow at least one aspect of Islamic law instead of the laws in their own respective scriptures. Notice that one of the reasons for doing so is precisely because Jews and Christians refuse to accept what Allah and His Messenger declare unlawful. In other words, they must pay the jizya because they reject Islamic law. If the Quran allowed Christians and Jews to reject Islamic law and follow their own laws for salvation, then this verse wouldn't make any sense. If David says this dhimmi demand is consistent with his claim, then he has conceded the Islamic dilemma is false, but because it entails that the Torah and Gospels are merely partly authoritative, but not entirely. There are aspects of which the Quran is authoritative over the previous scriptures. Well, that's just what the Muslim position is that David has always criticized.
So it looks like Jake is a false prophet because I didn't see anything that conflicts with the Islamic dilemma and what he said. And he says Surah 9 verse 29 shows that Jews and Christians have to be violently subjugated for rejecting Islam. Keep reading the passage. It explains why we have to be violently subjugated. The next verse says that Jews call Ezra the son of Allah. Hint, they don't. And that Christians call Jesus the son of Allah. Passage goes on to say that with our speech, we are trying to put out the light of Allah with our mouths, and that Allah is not going to allow us to put out His light. That's why He sends Muhammad to subjugate us. This is what we're preaching, and according to Islam, what we're preaching does not line up with our scriptures. We're distorting and misrepresenting what our scriptures teach. That is exactly my view of the Quran. So no conflict there.